Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of The Human Side of Marketing. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, like always, Kurt Stockwell.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. We're approaching the end of the year. Can you believe it?
It is here. I can't believe it. It's crazy.
I know. You always think of like in the middle of summer. My kids are always asking, when's Christmas happening? And so
I know, right?
I'll go, hey, Siri, how many days till Christmas? And it's like, it is 237 days till Christmas. And my kids are like, oh, and then before you know it, boom.
Yeah. It's like, it's here.
The holidays.
It's here.
It's the end of the year. Crazy.
I love it. Well, one of the things that happens at Christmas is a lot of storytelling. There's a lot of stories that come out, from Charles Dickens to movies that have stories like Elf and A Christmas Story.
Yeah. And the Hallmark Channel that I heard they just rebooted like all of their movies, and there's like 900 movies now on the Hallmark Channel, and they're all the same script.
I know. It's great. Wow. Wow. That's so funny. We've been telling stories forever. And I know in this episode, we're talking about chief storytelling officers. I think finally corporate America or businesses have started to realize that there is some power in storytelling, while the movie industry has known it forever. But
yeah.
What are you seeing? I know you brought this up. So what have you been seeing?
Well, actually I had a client send me an article and said, hey, I keep hearing about this new role in larger companies called the CSO, or the Chief Storytelling Officer. I was like, wow, okay, that's kind of cool. So I've been, kind of looking into it. And yeah, I mean, billion-dollar businesses that are, making kind of like shaking up their industry are no longer just relying on the marketing department to just kind of throw stories together. They're hiring chief storytelling officers because businesses are seeing the value of story and how it can, impact their bottom line.
Tell me the part about all the different departments in a company, because I think that's what makes that role so interesting versus just the marketing department, where they come up with whatever they want to say for marketing. But you were talking to me about the chief storytelling officer floating to departments.
When you think about it, like, why would this C-suite job exist?
Right.
Sometimes we look at job titles and go like, oh, that sounds like you're just throwing a title at right. So maybe you're thinking, oh, that sounds like you're just throwing a title at somebody to make them sound important. But really, where it's coming from is the desire to have a consistent message across the entire company. So if you think about it, salesperson, if you put like, you got the company together and you said, okay, a representative from the sales department, from the service department, from like the digital team, from the marketing team, we're going to bring you in one at a time and tell us what your business does. I bet you would get 4 very different stories.
Right. Yeah.
And that affects your bottom line, because if you can't have a consistent message across what you do for your customers, one, in your marketing, that's a problem. And that's, like you said, that's been kind of thrown on the shoulders of the marketing department for years.
Right.
However, when these salespeople or service people or the digital team or the whatever, when they're at the backyard barbecue, or they're at like a trade show, or whatever,
right,
they're marketing your business by talking about what you do.
Right.
So if you don't have a consistent message through all departments, that's a problem.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I love that, because and each department has a different lens they look through. So you might get some added story that creates a lot more context for your potential customers that you wouldn't get if you had just gone to one department. I think, everybody sees it, the value and the asset differently inside the company. So.
Right. And also another thing too is internally hearing the stories of what each individual is doing, like on a maybe the service or the company that, or the people in the business that's like making the widget, and they're kind of on the production floor. They're not necessarily talking to the customer. However, they've got a story about what they're doing to create the widget, right?
Right. With
their customer in mind at the end of the whole process. The salespeople might be a little bit more customer facing. The digital team, they might never talk to the customer. However, they're doing something for your customer, and their perspective on it is something that needs to be understood. And so I think where this is coming from and why these billion-dollar companies are hiring these or creating a role of a chief storytelling officer is they want to go into each one of these departments and go, what is something that we need to let our customers know about what we're doing for them
Right.
that I can learn from the digital team, or I can learn from the, the production floor, or I can learn from the service team. Right.
I also love too that I think a lot of times companies look outside themselves for marketing material, but every company has so much content inside of it already that if they just started to mine it for its own stories, you have so much content already happening in your company. You just need someone helping you pull it out.
Yeah, that's true. You think of these billion-dollar companies who they might run an ad campaign and use some, New York ad firm that comes in to create the actual asset that they're marketing with. But I think often, and I experience this myself, I walk into a company and start helping them with their marketing messaging, and I'm like, what's your message?
Right.
And they're like, I don't know, you tell me. And I'm like, no, I don't do that.
Right.
I can't come up with your message for you. I want to try to help extract your message from you, and
that's so good. So many people have for years, forever have abdicated responsibility for their marketing message. And they're like, I don't know, you figure it out.
right.
But the problem is, because I think we're in an age where information isn't what matters, it's connection.
Yeah.
That your voice as a company has to come through, because that's what people are going to try to determine whether they feel connection with you or not,
Right.
So,
That's so true. And you've mentioned this before, and actually a concept that you were kind of talking to me about is the whole tribal aspect of business these days. Is we're looking to get back into kind of smaller groups because we're out into kind of this digital space all day long, every day, and everybody kind of feels isolated and alone. So we're looking to connect with those who understand us. That's why the business that's been around for 60 years and kind of hanging their hat on their marketing message on the fact that we've been around longer than the next guy, that doesn't really mean anything to anymore. It mean anything to me anymore. What do you do for me?
That's right.
So anyway, I just thought it was interesting that these billion-dollar companies are seeing this value of story and hiring somebody internally to make that happen.
I think for smaller businesses now, it's a cool idea. I don't know if you've thrown this around or not. I think it's a cool idea. I would think of you and Well Dressed Walrus as kind of like a fractional CSO, like people could hire you to come in and do the work that a CSO does for a billion-dollar company, but because they're not a billion-dollar company, they wouldn't create a position inside their own company called Chief Storytelling Officer. But you could hire Kurt and Well Dressed Walrus to come out and do that kind of stuff. I think that's important.
That's a perfect segue, Chris. That's where I wanted to go with this whole thing.
Yes.
It's almost like you knew. That's it. Right. So you look at this article in the Huffington Post. I was reading an article in other business journals about this C-suite type of person, but you're like, I can't afford a C-suite individual.
Right.
I don't even give myself the moniker of a C-suite, chief exec, whatever. I've got a company and we do, less than $1 million in annual revenue, and I can't hire a chief storytelling officer. Well, that's what we do for people, really. At the end of the day, we're kind of like that outside team that can come in, that you're not paying somebody a full salary. However, we can come in and help you craft that message by challenging. Really what we do is we challenge people to think about their marketing in a way that they've never thought about it before. Or if they have thought about it in the way of like, well, I want to better communicate with my customers what we do for them. I just don't know how to do it. And that's because our businesses are 2 inches away from our face all day long, every day. I mean, you're very skilled in what you do in marketing. And we've had a lot of conversations about sales and about how we communicate with our customers. However, the mastermind group that you and I are a part of, we put that out there to other people to say, hey, this is what I think about it. What do you think about it? And what corners am I not seeing around? Right.
Yeah.
And that's such a valuable thing. And, so you're not out there all by yourself thinking, if you think that my business needs that storytelling aspect of it, because I see it as such a valuable thing. However, I can't afford a CSO. Well, that's what we do for businesses.
Yeah, it's so good too. It's so helpful because like you said, you're most of the time we're too close to it. Like we said last episode, by the way, on the taglines and stuff, like it's hard to come up with it yourself.
Yeah.
You kind of need structure and guidance to pull it out. And so, I think with this type of an arrangement where you have somebody coming in to help, you kind of get the best of both worlds of like, where people would used to say, I don't know what my marketing message is. You figure it out. They're trying to like they don't want to think about it too much, but with bringing somebody in, you kind of get that support, but they're pulling your message out, not adding their own on top of what you do. So
I often tell people, I ask, what's your marketing been like? And, often people like, oh, it's been disastrous. And we've tried so many things that it hasn't worked. And we've wasted thousands and thousands of dollars on things that haven't worked, or we've hired people to help us before with our marketing. And, we're kind of jaded. And I always tell people, your perfect marketing message is already in you. You just need somebody to ask the right questions to pull it out. Yeah. And that's all we're going to do. We're going to sit here for the next hour or so, and we're going to talk about what you already know in your gut that is right.
Yeah.
To help you kind of see it.
Yeah.
That's really what we do.
I like it. Really good. Really good, Kurt. Well, if people want to take you up on that.
Yeah. So you can go to clarifymymarketing.com, which there's an opportunity there to schedule a time with me, and no obligation. Let's just have a phone call and talk about where you feel stuck. Mm-hmm. We have a service that I like to call your brand's marketing playbook, where we create a tagline and a one-liner and a summary paragraph. And we talk about that full story that you need to invite your customer into. Mm-hmm. It's a story about them. We deliver all of those things in what I call a playbook, because really when you think about it, like any great coach wouldn't go into the championship game just winging it. And when you look at your marketing, it's daunting and it's overwhelming. I think the other day I was looking at an article that there's now over 7,000 different ways to do your marketing online, like different things that you can connect your marketing message to, more than just, Facebook or Instagram. And so overwhelming, and tons of places to go waste money.
Yeah, for sure.
Tons of places to go waste money. So before you start spending money on marketing, get your message clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can help you with that.
That's a priority. Wow, good stuff today. I liked where this conversation went. Chief Storytelling Officers. I like it.
Yeah, wow. I might need to give myself a new title.
Ooh, yeah, I like it.
CSO.
You should do it. Sounds like a new TV episode. Well, all right, Kurt, good stuff. Here's to a happy holiday season and a new year.
Yeah.
And thanks for all the great content you brought this year. I look forward to what you create next year. So
yeah, thanks, Chris.
Until then, see ya.
Bye.